Yo, what's good, YouTube? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back welcoming you to the post-fight show with Stormybman for AJ and Usyk 2. Just finished wrapping up, just about to sign off, and we're here to talk about that fight. We got more fights on the way, but I thought I would just chime in with some quick and instant thoughts on this fight. In a way, which was, let me just start off by saying, hey man, salute to my brother KQKC Boxing Network for his call on the fight. Great, again, efforts by KQ for what he does. I'm very pleased that there was no knockout in this fight. And the reason being is that knockouts sometimes don't really tell you who's best. Anybody can get knocked out. Anybody can get dropped. But when a person has a set of skills that are indomitable, you have to formulate a plan to take that person down a peg or two. And by no means did I feel that under these auspices going into this rematch that Anthony Joshua would be prepared to do something like that.
And it's not that, oh, he's not good and this and that or whatever, because I'm not here to bash him. He fought much better in this fight than he did the first fight. But now you will be able to see a point that I'm going to make. When you have poor management and promoters who only think about the dollars, not the person that they have that could bring in the dollars. You can't skip the line in boxing. You cannot. What does that mean, Stormy? It would have served AJ to a greater end. It would have served him to a greater end to have had a couple of fights in between going into a rematch with Alexander Usyk, giving him an opportunity to not only get more familiar with whomever he brought in as a new trainer, which in this case, in instance, it was Robert Garcia, but it will also get him acclimated to the game plan of what they intend to do when they do face off against Usyk for the second time. That's important. It's very important. When you do things that allows you to go to class, you want to be prepared. You want to have all your books and your pens and pencils, paper, notebooks, notepads, sticky notes, things of that nature. You want to be prepared. And AJ looked like a fighter looks when they take that first fight, working with the new trainer, working on some things, going out there, trying to put forth a great and solid effort. A couple of fights, he possibly could have had a better outing against this fighter. Yeah. Now, some people may say, well, they don't have all that time. Yes, they do. Because a lot of these guys sit around for months and months and months not doing anything. He could have taken 2 fights in 6 months against opposition that he can work against. Not anyone that would take the opportunity away from him off the table. But it's almost a year since they fought, right? So why not? That would have given him 2 training camps under his belt with a third going into the fight. But you see, Hearn does this to everybody he works with that's good. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with this young man's confidence going forward. It's already at a low ebb. But he shouldn't hang his head because he fought better. But he could have been even better. And I'm certain that you all probably wasn't thinking that I would say something like that. But for what it's worth, it's an honest assessment. It's my assessment. You don't have to agree, but it's just there to give you something to think about. I had the fight scored 8-4 for Alexander Usyk. But once again, with these judges, and shout out to my man L-Dub, who early on sent me information who the officials over this fight would be, including the referee. Glenn Feldman from the U.S., Steve Gray from England, Victor Fiseko from the Ukraine. I didn't expect Victor from the Ukraine to go against Usyk But I believe his scorecard read something like 116 to 112 or something like that. Like I said, 8-4. But Glenn Feldman, you have made the hit list. You're from the U.S. and you scored this fight for Anthony Joshua. What fight were you watching? Biased, bigoted, prejudiced. Need I say it again? How many times will we go around this carousel? The referee, Luis Pabon from Puerto Rico, did his damnedest to not try to take points for AJ's tactics. And I understand that AJ was trying to be a little bit rougher this go around, and that's okay. And maybe Luis considered those things as well. Hard warnings and looks didn't make AJ stop, but he was on top of it. When it ain't in you, it ain't in you. And for those who were saying that AJ needed to be rough and go in there and take the fight to Usyk and all of this and that or whatever, AJ has never been that type of guy. These guys over in the UK, like the Johnny Nelsons and all of those men who sit up on those Dazn broadcasts and the crew of usual suspects over there, they are not honest with themselves. AJ beat up on the string of guys that you build your record against when you're a prospect. The opportunity for a title fight against a guy who was not unlike himself, but he was better than, in Charles Martin, they seized the opportunity, overpaid Charles Martin to buy the IBF title that Martin was carrying at the time. And as the world champion now, they slowed AJ's process by not continuing his growth. But it came to a stalemate almost. And then when he did fight, he fought opposition that wasn't challenging enough for him to get better fight by fight. A couple of fights, referees helped him out. The fight against Parker, ref wouldn't let Parker fight on the inside with him. Kept him on the outside. Whenever he got close to AJ, the referee would break him up and push him away. Against Carlos Takam, they stopped the fight when Takam was starting to come on as AJ was tiring late in the fight. We know what happened with the Big Baby Miller fight and the replacement that was Andy Ruiz Jr. Hearn is horrible. Matchroom is horrible. People really need to pay attention to these things. It's no wonder that this young man is so confused and mentally is all over the place when he speaks publicly, and he's uncertain. When Lennox Lewis was suggesting that he try to come to the U.S. to take some fights and to learn the culture of boxing from the U.S., it wasn't telling him what he's doing is all wrong. It was about broadening his horizons, which Lennox was able to do himself and is the perfect example of that. But they took it all wrong. And the AJ supporters and everything slammed Lennox for talking. AJ himself called the former retired undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, who defeated virtually every man he faced in the ring professionally as a fighter, called him a clown. I'd be that clown any day. There's a lot of broken glass around the feet of Anthony Joshua, and he's barefooted. He's got to walk his own path. And seeing that he signed a lifetime contract with Matchroom and the Hearns, that's his problem. Now on to Alexander Usyk, who will go down in history as possibly the second best cruiserweight in history, right behind my man Evander Holyfield, the real deal, who happened to be in attendance tonight. What a shot in the arm for Alexander for that. But I'm going to say this about Usyk first of all. At 6'3", 221 pounds, which is a lot heavier than Evander was. He might be smaller than some of these other giants out here, but a 200 plus pound man hitting you upside the head. There's nothing pillowy about that. Why did AJ not just rush in and bum rush like Johnny Nelson was suggesting and everything? Because he was getting hit by another heavyweight. It's not the size of your weight, it's what your chin can take. And AJ has always been a little questionable in the chin department. When you're fighting a series of guys who are a lot shorter than you can hide behind that, but he wasn't able to do that very well because his boxing skills are questionable. But he's a strong man, and they had built him up with muscles and everything, so he was physical. But Alexander Usyk showed you what rhythmic and perpetual motion. Shout out to our brother Curtis Anderson, aka Kurt Sugar, R.I.P., and much respect. That was his phrase. Rhythmic and perpetual motion. A fighter without footwork is like a blind man without a cane, Kurt used to say. It's absolutely true. When Mike Tyson was really good, you guys remember him knocking people out. I remember his elusiveness, rhythmic and perpetual motion with the peekaboo style. He would draw you to throw punches, evade them, and counter you with combinations. Typically combinations off of a series. Body, body, head, body, so forth and so on. That is what you would see from Mike when he was at his best. Most people don't recall that, but go back and look at the film. When you couldn't hit him, fighters would get frustrated. And next thing you know, they're trying to cover up and save themselves because he's coming with that heat. And he was very dialed in on that through hours and hours of rigorous practice that Custom Model drilled into him. And he was successful. That's why real keen superior boxers would give him trouble. It wasn't always about their height and reach, but it was about the skill set. If you knew how to keep yourself safe, if you knew how to box, tie a guy up, slow his momentum down, things of that nature, you can offset what he does. Alexander Usyk is a proponent of that. You look at how he performed this evening. Even after taking in a round of being kind of pummeled by AJ with some body shots, single shots, Usyk was able to get back into that rhythm and start putting his combinations together, not concentrating on trying to knock the man out, but letting his hands go scoring. For every hard body shot AJ would throw, he'd throw 3 or 4 combinations as a counter off of that. And typically the counters were in a series of up and down. They weren't all at the head, they weren't all at the body. It was a combination mixture of that. Those are the kind of things that a seasoned fighter understands. And Usyk has been doing that his entire career. There is appreciation for a guy that has a skill set. I have an appreciation for the sweet science. But you give respect and credit to where it's due. And did you not see Usyk come back after that, what was that 8th round where AJ kind of put it on him, that 8th or 9th round, and he came back out like a real champion and competed and really took that round back and brought all types of doubt back into AJ psychologically. It was what he did well, and it is what secured the fight for him. Because guess what? AJ was not able to take it to another level. He competed right there and didn't have much else. Did you see him trying to hold and initiate clinches to Usyk that late in the fight? Yeah. Did you see him trying to fall over on Usyk and put his body weight on him and everything? And one time almost went to the canvas because pretty much the fight was out of him. Everything else was just a shell. Robert Garcia can't help you with that. No coach or trainer can help you with that. There are things that you have to learn in life on your own. It's called walking your path. Now, if he settles into the fact that he's just another quality heavyweight contender and not some superstar or something that they're trying to make him out to be, he may develop to the degree where he may get a little better. But that ain't gonna happen if he doesn't do what's necessary. It ain't gonna happen. It requires humility. It requires a little bit of learning, accepting the lessons. Yeah. Just as we all need to do in our regular everyday lives. Take heed to the lessons. That's what that's all about. Usyk threw punches from various angles. He kept moving. And I'll tell you something. At 35, that's great. But do you know what type of condition the man has to be in to move like that for 10, 12 rounds? There was a couple of rounds that he kind of took off or whatever. He took a couple of really good low blows in the hip pointer, the hip flexor. Those shots hurt. You can get blood pockets in those areas and it's painful. Ask a football player. But Usyk is a tough man. He was battling for more than just a championship tonight. And a lot of people didn't consider that. But even in a video I made about him earlier this week, I talked about him being a winner. It's all in the eyes. And he's been a winner his career over. He wasn't a guy made. Floyd Mayweather made a great comment about him. He said, while y'all was seeing AJ on TV in the UK and everything, nobody was seeing Usyk, but he was still every bit successful, if not more so. So quite naturally, by the time he got that opportunity to fight for those titles that AJ had, people were like, who is this guy? Even when he was the cruiserweight champion, no one really paid attention to him. But he has a skill set. He has talent and ability. He has heart, he has determination and will, desire, skills. And each and every bit of that was on display tonight or this afternoon. It was night over there. You have to have an appreciation for that and a respect. And if you don't, someone like he will make you respect him. That's what fighters like that bring to the ring. That's exactly what they bring to the ring. And you have to acknowledge that. What's next for him? He said he'd like to face Tyson Fury so he could become undisputed. But I don't believe Tyson Fury will be available. The walls are still closing in on that guy. And you'll find out about that as time goes on even more. But I'll tell you this. Alexander Usyk is the type of fighter that I like to see. Because you got to be good to beat him. You're not going to get lucky with a knockout punch. You're not going to come in there and bully him around. You got to defeat him with some ability. You're not going to bring more confidence than what he has. You got to bring skill set. He's the type of fighter, unfortunately, with what's happening in his home country, with the world conflict, he won't be able to celebrate like he ordinarily would under more peaceful circumstances. But he's the type of fighter that you would love to see him take on select fighters. He'd give Deontay Wilder hell. One fight that would be really interesting with Usyk would be King Kong Ortiz, because they're both southpaws, and King Kong can box as well as punch. He's a boxer puncher. And that would be like a replay of Olympic face-offs all over again, Cuban and Ukraine. He who greets with fire. Don't give a damn, okay? On this night, this is Alexander Usyk's night, and he deserves all the accolades and praise that he fought for. Why you guys keep digging in the garbage and sewer to see how firm the shit is, I don't know. I don't dwell in the sewage, bro. No. It was a nice gesture that AJ tried to show support for the country that Usyk comes from, but you know, you just coming off of a big loss in your career, bro. Just go back and lick your wounds and go sit down somewhere, because they don't need your help. And some things just don't come across as genuine, especially when you talk about freezing other fighters out of opportunity. Now let's see how you're frozen out of opportunity. Yeah. You may have to beg to get to the dance now. Yeah. Isn't it funny how the tables get turned, huh? Deontay has given fighters opportunities. Blessed them, as he used to say. Dominique Brazil, who really didn't deserve, but he blessed him. And then he annihilated him. King Kong, who was not his mandatory, he blessed him. Huh? Tyson Fury, he blessed him. And look what happened there. But out of that, he has risen like a phoenix and has become more popular than ever. But they were talking about freezing him out. Yeah. These are the things that, again, I talk about them on this channel a lot. I give you a little bit of life. I give you a whole lot of boxing. But fact of the matter is, this is a reality, and you can't escape it, huh? Biased, bigoted, prejudiced. It exists, not just in the sport of boxing, but in the real world. And it's equally as nasty in both places, because it's all under the same umbrella. Words be true. Think about it. Salute to Alexander Usyk, man, who was battling a heavy toll, and came out victorious. I don't know that he can go and rest, but he can take a deep breath, exhale. Yeah, Divine. I agree with that, bro. 1,000. Yeah. And salute to all my brothers out there. I saw Drew Titan out there. Flawless, Dr. Mark, Shade Girl, William, CB Sports. You know, when you guys come around, it makes me feel good to see you out there supporting. And I see the numbers be a little high this evening because people like to tune in and see what I have to say. It's funny how they don't show the support, but they be out there listening, huh? Just like somebody when they see an auto accident on the side of the expressway, everybody got to slow down and look. Is there a dead body? Is somebody mangled? Are they hurt? They just slowing down, holding up traffic. Traffic, if you just going around the accident, traffic will flow. But no, they got to slow down, take pictures, pull the cell phone out and everything. But won't lend a damn finger to help. Ain't that something? That's y'all sitting out there watching, peeping through the blinds in the bushes. You're nasty. You're like maggots. When I come to somebody's channel and chat, I write in there, hey, what's up? Salute. Here's a toast. Huh? But you come around here and you think it's toast or croutons. Huh? Yeah. I said it. I said it. Tell me I'm lying. Yeah. There's some more fights coming up. I think they start about 3 minutes from now on Showtime. Then we got a card later on Top Rank ESPN. So I'll be checking that out as well. So I'm gonna get on up out of here. There'll be a post fight after the other card ends, but I wanted to come out here. Salute to you, Diana. I see you out there. Yeah, Divine, ain't that something? But I don't care. Get my views up, as Drew Titan says. Get my views up, huh? Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna get on out of here. Be back later with part 2 post-fight after the other fights take place. It was supposed to be our man AB tonight, but he wasn't able to show up. So it's gonna be Figueroa against Lipinets. And who knows how that's gonna go. You know, these guys are something else, man. But we'll catch you guys on the next one and catch you guys a little later. So peace to you all. Congratulations again to Alexander Usyk, real heavyweight champion of the world. A real heavyweight champion for the world. Yeah. And good lesson to Anthony Joshua. I hope he can go back and revisit his clown comment and understand that life ain't a circus, bro. You just see a lot of sideshows, just like your career.